Good evening. My name is MJ Anders, and tonight we're going to be looking at the optimal nutrition for a bird named Winston, who is a cockatiel. So we will be going over, we're going to look at the animal scenario, which is learning a little bit about Winston himself and why he's in here. We're going to go over the digestive system, the structure and function in an avian digestive system. We're going to take a look at nutritional requirements, a couple studies that are important to keep in mind when looking at avian digestion. We've got a couple different diet recommendations, some common dietary requirements. We'll take a look at body condition scores, daily energy requirements, and then the recommended caloric intake for it. So first and foremost, we have Winston, who is a cockatiel. He is a male and he's about 7 years old. And he is in with a health concern because he is vitamin deficient, specifically in vitamin A. And our objective, of course, is to recommend the owner a high quality diet that helps be able to meet those dietary needs. So let's jump right in and look at the digestive system. Digestive system starts with the beak, of course, where the food enters the system. Moves then into the esophagus, which is a muscular tube that links the beak to the crop. The crop is a temporary food storage, leading to the proventriculus, which secretes acid to break down the food, leading it to the gizzard, which grinds the food, to the small intestine, where it breaks down the food and absorbs nutrients and gets rid of waste, leading to the large intestine, which absorbs water and electrolytes, down to the cloaca, which holds waste to be removed, and finally the vent, where the waste leaves the body. And then in avian digestion, we also have a casecae, which absorbs fluids and salt, which are important to the bird. So real quick, we can look at the dietary requirements. Avians require crude proteins like amino acids, total fats, fatty acids in the diet mixed in, vitamins A, D, E, K, and of course minerals like calcium. And off to the side here, we do have an image that kind of breaks down some of the ingredients that are in a typical diet and what they have as far as the dietary necessariness. So moving on from that, we're going to look at our two studies that I mentioned before. The first one being adult cockatiels at maintenance are more sensitive to diets containing excessive vitamin A than to vitamin A deficient diets. So the main point of this study was that cockatiels with vitamin A that is too high are more susceptible to toxicity. So overdosing from vitamin A is really bad for them versus being deficient in it. So the relevance to it is that Winston is deficient in vitamin A, meaning he needs more in his diet. However, taking into concern the study, we need to make sure we're not overdoing the vitamin A. That compared with study 2, which was the vitamin requirements of adult cockatiels and orange-winged Amazon parrots, where the main finding in this one was that a diet void of vitamin A also can lead to harm to a cockatiel, as vitamin A is needed to continue processing vitamin A and having it being secreted from the liver. So the relevance to this one, of course, is that a diet void of vitamin A is bad for the animal and it affects the body. By not introducing more vitamin A, the body won't continue to use the stores of it from the liver to maintain normal functions. So the two studies to look at the first one to keep in mind is important because overdoing vitamin A can be very toxic, and a toxic vitamin A diet is worse for them than a deficient vitamin A diet. And then study 2, of course, is important because if we are too deficient in vitamin A, the body won't properly process the foods and therefore will shut down and also lead to death. So from there, we're going to jump right into a couple diet options for you. The first one being what's called a rainbow bird chop, as you can see here in the ingredients list on the right side. All healthy foods, all natural, things like chopped kale, we've got sweet potato in there, squash, those orange fruits that are going to be higher in vitamin A. The pros to this one, of course, is it's all natural, raw ingredients that mimic a natural diet that they might have had out in nature. And the number 2 pro for that one is it fills the dietary requirements. So it's something that's going to be high in vitamin A. It's also very manipulative so that we can, add more vitamin A nutrient food or remove it. Cons for this one is it can be more expensive to go raw, of course. And on the other con being that it's labor intensive. You're going to have to take that time to put this together each week to keep it fresh and ready for them to consume. Out of the 3 diets, though, I would rank this as the best diet option for you because it is so changeable. It's easy to, match what he needs in that time. Diet number 2 is the White Male brand Pure Cocktail Food. This one's got a pro. It's high in vitamin A, as you can see in the ingredients list down there. It's also an easy feed option. As a bagged food, it's easier for you to just have it readily available to go ahead and give him his food when you need to. A con being that it's heavy in seed, and seed tends to lack in general nutrition. It's kind of a filler food, kind of like carbohydrates. The other con would be that there are additives to it to keep the fruit that's in it fresh longer. And of course, additives aren't always, the best thing that we're looking for when it comes to food for anyone. So this one we're going to rank as 2 out of 3 because it's an easy option. It does have really good health benefits to it. Our third option, which we did rank 3 out of 3, is the Volkmann Avian Science Cocktail with sunflower domesticated bird food. This one, its pros are it's convenient. Of course, seed, it's on hand, it's easy to use, and it does have a nice mix of healthy seeds. The cons being that there are unnecessary additives like dyes. This one actually does have dyes in it, which aren't necessary to them, and it doesn't specifically list vitamin A, even though it's an option that they're receiving from the feed. So this one, once again, did get ranked 3 out of 3. So looking at all 3 of those options again together, we have that rainbow bird chop, which is the best option. It's fresh, no added ingredients, it's high in the right vitamins and minerals, and it's easy to increase the vitamin A content or to decrease it if we feel like we've gone too far. Diet 2 being the White Male Pure Cocktail Food. It's good nutrition, it's easy to have on hand, but it does have some additives to it. And then of course Diet 3 being that Volkmann Avian Science. It has nutritional value, but has an excess of unneeded additives. So from there, we're going to take a quick look at the body condition score, which is important to look at. So when Winston came in, he had a 1.5 out of 5, which does put him up here in this category. Definitely underweight. If we touch him, we do notice, sharpness to that breastbone. We'll see minimal muscle mass, which is definitely, due to that lack of vitamin A, which is why it's so necessary in his diet. Ideally, we will get him up to, a 3, to which we'll notice he's more full-breasted. He's got more muscle built there. There's no sharpness to the front of him. He just generally will look healthier. He'll have a well-balanced diet. So with that, we're also going to take a quick look at a breakdown of what an energy requirement is, a recommended caloric intake. The top part here, we can see that his resting energy requirements recommends him about a 7.4 kcal a day, which is the same as his daily energy requirements. And this number is fairly small, but we can break it down into the recommended caloric intake, which leaves him at about a 0.017 cups a day as far as how many calories he needs to be intaking. So overall, Winston is in need of vitamin A in his diet, of course, but it is important to remember that too much of it can be toxic. Too little of it can cause his body not to process what it needs. So the healthiest diet is that rainbow diet, which is made up of fresh fruits and veggies. And it can also be modified so that we're not overdoing one way or the other. A good sign we're moving in the right direction would be a loss of that sharpness in his breastbone and an increase in muscle mass. And then, of course, the cockatiels do need just a very small amount of food a day, only about a 0.017 cups of food per day. And then, of course, if you needed any questions, I do have a site. We're excited just to answer any further questions. Thank you.